Hey guys, so today I figured I would go over some painting tips that I've learned or figured out over the years of me being an artist. And I'm going to do so while starting this new painting. So let's get into it. Okay, move all my crap out the way. The first tip I would say is to use linseed oil. This is the linseed oil that I use. It's the Gamblin refined linseed oil. And I get it at Hobby Lobby because I love to save a buck. But using linseed oil is great because it thins it out a little bit, makes it a little bit smoother. And I know some people use paint thinner, but oil painting does not have to be as toxic as people say. So a little linseed oil is like fine. You're not getting all those fumes and stuff, ending up lightheaded, all that craziness. So yeah, the next thing I would say is to keep your brushes as clean as possible. So while I'm painting, I always have like a napkin. Okay, I always have like a napkin, a paper towel or something right next to my palette. So before I go into dipping the next color, I just take my brush, wipe it on my palette. Then I'm able to go right in without the colors getting all muddy and just kind of getting crazy mixing together. So that's not cute. The next one is a little bit like before you really get into it like that. Prime your canvas with gesso. They have canvases that come primed already, but I personally still like to prime it again like 2 more times. And it just makes your canvas nice and smooth and ready to take the paint. And then the paint also won't like bleed through the back, if that makes sense, because it's fabric canvas. So also sanding it down sometimes is a good idea. I've never done that because I don't have sandpaper. That's life. But if you do, that also helps to make it extra smooth. And that's always just best when you're doing oil paint because sometimes it might just kind of stick a little bit. I don't know, your brush, it's hard to explain, but your brush might kind of stick a teeny bit to the canvas, like get caught on the fabric. If that makes sense. If it doesn't, ignore me. What do I know? Anyway, my next tip would have to be just make sure you invest in a good paint. A good paint will really take you a long way, and you also end up saving money because when you have a good paint, you're not using as much. So the ones that I like, please hold because I dropped it. Oh, I had another one, but it's somewhere. Beats me. But the ones that I like, I use the Winsor & Newton, the Winton oil color, and also sometimes these Premier oil paints. I only use it for the phthalo blue, to be completely honest with you, but whatever. I really like the Winsor & Newton brand. They're not crazy expensive, but for me at least, they have a professional quality. They're not too thin and like too oily where like the oil is just falling out of the bottle. And when your paint is too oily, it won't really cover your canvas. So for example, this Artist Loft paint, which I like to use the white, to be completely honest. I use the white because I'm always just mixing it into something. I'm never just painting straight white on anything, so it's fine. It's great for mixing, but it's not a good full coverage paint at all. So like your makeup. I mean, if you get makeup, certain brands, it's not going to be a full coverage foundation. But if you spend a little bit more money, you're going to really get that full coverage. It's going to look nice and smooth and airbrush. Same deal. So yeah, there was a time where I tried to get Artist Loft for all my regular colors because I wanted to save a little bit of money. And then I ended up wasting money because all the paint was terrible. And I haven't used any of it since, only the white. I only use the white. So there's that. My next like go-to tip is definitely to mix your colors beforehand, like all of them together. Well, not together. Anyway, Mix all your colors at the same time before you start painting versus doing it as you go. Granted, if as you're going you realize you need another color mix, that's a good time to do it, but it's a lot easier and saves you a lot of time to just do it all in the beginning, and you just kind of make like a gradient, like dark to light, all your in-betweens, and you're set for real. So that's really what I do. I mix all my colors early on. Sometimes I do it the night before just because I want to save myself a little bit of time in the morning, because I usually paint in the morning. So it gives me a little bit more time to lollygag before I start painting if I mix my colors like the night before. Anyways, don't mind me. The next one is more like portrait painting specific, but when I first started portrait painting, the way that I kind of figured out what I was doing was by thinking about it as how I would put makeup on. This is really helpful if you're a woman who wears makeup. But when you think about like, okay, where would I put a contour on my face? Where on my face would I highlight? Where would I put blush? Things like that. It really helps you with the painting process, because then you're like, okay, so I might put a shadow like on the cheekbones down here a little bit, or I might put a shadow on the nose because I contour my nose, or I'll highlight like right up here on the cheek or right under the eyebrow in the middle of the nose, because that's where I do it with my makeup. That's what really helped me a lot with the portrait painting process. So sometimes you just got to think about it practically and like as a regular day-to-day process, not like an art process, because then you're kind of seeing it a little differently and it starts to really click in your mind, and then you just gotta do it automatically. Now you know what you're doing. You don't have to rely on a reference as much because you already know where the color's gonna go. If that makes sense. Again, if it doesn't make sense, ignore me. I just be talking. And then the last tip I would say, I really didn't do much painting. I can't paint and talk at the same time, but anyways. My mic cut off, so now we're going to have to rely on the camera footage for that last little bit of that. Sorry to my friends. But the last tip is just remember you have free will. So you can do literally whatever the heck you want. If you want to paint with a reference, paint with a reference. No one's going to come into your studio and smack you in the face because you used a reference, and some people think you shouldn't. It's all about what works for you. I've done a video about you using a reference. I'll do it for YouTube at some point. But like, some people prefer it and some people don't. It's all about how you work in your process. I prefer a reference because I like having a guide because I'm a perfectionist and I like to try to make it as exact as possible. It's a mental thing for me. Anyway, if you want to hold a paintbrush the way you hold a pencil, do it. It's fine. Some people say hold it like a dart. I hold it like a pencil. I took a lot of long years as a child learning how to hold a pencil. I'm gonna hold it like I hold a pencil. So what? The painting still gets done. You know what I mean? It's really fine. If you want to use white and black paint, go for it. A lot of people say try to use white and black as little as possible. That's fair. But if you want to use it, don't be like shamed out of using it. You can do whatever you want as long as you're creating and as long as you're having fun. It's all about having fun. So I'm just going to try my best to have a good time, live our life, and make some pretty paintings. That's literally it. So